So Chapter 6 has recently released, and with the release of a new chapter, there are bound to be new locations that come with it. So in this video, I'll be ranking all 18 of them from worst to best. So make sure to like and subscribe. And now, let's get into the ranking. At 18th place, being the worst location in Chapter 6, is Shining Span, which is literally just a huge bridge with maybe 10 chests in total, if even that. But I will give it credit for looking good, and the grind rails that you can ride on are a cool bonus, but besides that, this location just shouldn't even be named. At 17th place is Whiffy Wharf, which is just a horrible name for a location, but it's really funny to say. But I haven't really gone to this location much so far because it's just so far away from everything and is in the top left corner of the map, which means it's never going to get circled, and unless you land there, you're never even going to find yourself like in the location. And I've gone there maybe 2 times in total. At number 16 is another really small location, and on a side note, does anyone know why Chapter 6 added like 4 locations that just shouldn't even be named? Like they all should have been landmarks. But anyway, Brutal Boxcars is in 15th place because it's just a slightly larger than normal train station, which is good for looting up in solos and maybe duos, but there just isn't enough loot here to go around. And it's surrounded by other locations, which just leaves you open to getting jumped. In 15th place is Foxy Floodgate, which is another really small location, but it's better than the others because it has the benefit of having like 2 sections with the top of the dam and the bottom of it. Also, I've rotated here a good amount of times and I've gotten some decent loot passing by. But that's all this location is, a good location to pass by, but you're never gonna land here. At 14th place is sadly the fan favorite Bird, which is a pretty good location considering its size and that all the loot is compacted tight together. So it won't take you too long to loot up. Also, it's a gas station with a good amount of locations next to it, so you can just get a car and rotate out of here easily. But it just doesn't have enough loot and it really just shouldn't have been named. In 13th place is Twinkle Terrace, which is the first normal location on the list, but it's pretty much just a small town, and the only reason I see the land here is to rotate into Night Shift Forest. But this place does have a decent amount of loot, so that's why it's as high. The next 2 spots I haven't really gone to like at all, as I don't really go to the bottom right side of the map, but I think their placements are justified. So in 12th place is Hopeful Heights, which just feels like a small version of Holly Hedges, and I never really liked Holly all that much, but this place is kind of remote, so you won't have to worry about like getting railed by third parties, but overall it's just mid. At 11th place is Maxed Meadows, which is just a normal size Holly Hedges clone, which is only above Hopeful Heights because it's bigger and it's really the same thing. And also, I'm pretty sure that there's like an underground part where a guaranteed Oni mask is, which is a bonus. Barely cracking the top 10 is Flooded Frogs in 10th, which is an alright location with a good amount of loot, and it isn't that contested, and there's enough loot to go around for you and your entire team. But I go here more as like a rotation than an actual drop spot, but I have heard whispers that this place is going to get unflooded, and it has a whole location under the water, which would move this up the rankings a good bit. In 9th place is Lost Lake, which is just a bigger version of Flooded Frog, so it has more loot, which is nice. But again, this place is better off as a rotation than an actual drop spot, and there's also a cool face in the water with glowing eyes, which is cool, I guess. In 8th place is Canyon Crossing, which is a cool location that's really high up, which can lead to people falling off, which is funny to see. And it's a decently large location with a good amount of loot, and it's not too hard to fight here, unlike the last 2 locations, which I forgot to mention, or annoying as hell to fight in because the builds get all wonky there. In 7th place is Pumped Power, which is just a solid location all around, with it being big enough to loot without running into people every second, and it's not that contested, so you'll be fine and left with a good amount of loot. In 6th place is Warrior's Watch, which has a ton of loot, but it's all compacted into one humongous building, which can make landing here feel like prime tilted towers. But if you are able to fight your way out of here, you'll be left with an ungodly amount of loot, and a guaranteed sword, and a great chance of getting a Void Oni mask, which is amazing in this season. In 5th place is Seaport City, which is a good location for loot, and a good if you want to fight a lot. because there's a good amount of people that land here, so your game will be very active, but the loot is worth it. In 4th place is Magic Mosses, which on the surface seems like a decent location with an alright amount of loot, so no one really lands here. So you may be asking, why is it in 4th place? Well, if you go to the center of Magic with a wind sprite and go down, you'll reach an underground area, and when you go next to a cliff with a wind sprite, you'll reach loot heaven with all the loot you'll need stocked away, with I'm pretty sure a guaranteed sword and 2 or 3 elemental chests, so that's why it's in 4th place. In 3rd place is Night Shift Forest, which is just a beautiful location with the purple trees. Like, this place just feels like you're in an enchanted forest. And there's a good amount of loot in the center, but there's also a good amount of people that land here. But just like Magic Mosses, there's a hidden vault here too, but this one is way more complicated to get into, but it has way more loot than Magic's vault. So what you need to do is find Bushranger with a sprite in hand and give it to him, and he'll turn the night into day, like a reverse Khonshu from Moon Knight. And then he'll give you a key to the vault, and then boom, you have an ungodly amount of loot. But a lot of people already know about this, so the chances of you getting it are pretty slim, but if you do, you're set for the rest of the game. In 2nd place is Shogun Solitude, which is another beautiful location with all the red trees, but this location looks like it's just Warrior Watch again, so why is it so far above it, you may be asking. Well, it's because literally no one lands here. Like, every game, only like 1 or 2 people land here, so this location has more loot than Warrior's Watch without the downside of having to fight 10 million people. So guaranteed towards an Oni mask galore. It's amazing. In 1st place is my one and only Demon's Dojo, my uncontested GOAT. Now, the reason it's in 1st place is, well, the loot there is good, you know, but I don't care about that. The mythics are all I care about, because you get 2 of the best items this season in mythical form. You get the Precision SMG and the Void Oni mask. So the SMG just shreds in less than a second, and the Oni mask has 50 charges, which is more than enough to never run out in the game. So you'll have a good, and you also have a good chance of finding a sword here, which just gives you the 3 best items in the season in one place. So an easy 1st place, uncontested. And that is the end of the ranking. If you guys liked it, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you didn't or would change something about the ranking, make sure to let me know in the comments. But please be civil, because my god, last video's comment section was utterly insane. They were dogpiling on me. But goodbye.